Good morning. My name is Anne Kivlin and I'm one of the Heads of Inspection with His Majesty's Inspectorate of Education. Welcome to a series of conversations where we discuss examples of effective practice identified during a recent national thematic where we looked at local authority approaches to supporting school improvement. HM inspectors visited all 32 local authorities to look at how local authorities support schools to improve. In today's conversation, we hear from Renfrewshire Council colleagues who will talk about their council's data strategy, how their approach includes a comprehensive programme of skills development for staff, and how data is accessible to all. I'd now like to invite our colleagues to introduce themselves. Emma, would you like to begin, please?
Good morning, I'm Emma Henry, Head of Education here at Renfrewshire Council.
Good morning, I'm Lauren Johnston. I'm a Strategic Manager for Children's Services and have responsibility for improvement, performance and resource.
Good morning, I'm Mary Thomas. I'm one of the Education Managers at Renfrewshire Council with responsibility for quality improvement and health and wellbeing.
Good morning, I'm Linda Berry. I'm Head Teacher at Woodlands Primary School in Renfrewshire.
The golden thread running through Renfrewshire Council is our effective use of data. Our comprehensive data strategy underpins everything that we do, from self-evaluation and quality improvement to strategic planning. As a result, data use is firmly embedded at every level of the system. Decisions, refinements to practice, and targeted interventions, both at school and local authority level, are all driven by robust evidence. This approach is delivering strong educational outcomes for Renfrewshire's children and young people. In this podcast, you'll hear staff sharing their expectations, experiences, and explain how using data has truly added value to their work.
Thanks, Emma. I would say that one of the main successes of the Scottish Attainment Challenge in Renfrewshire has been the development of the data team and the data strategy, which has supported all establishments to close the poverty-related attainment gap and drive forward improvement. Effective use of data is the golden thread running through all aspects of children's services. The strategy started with developing a positive data culture and getting central staff and heads thinking about using data for improvement, understanding why data is important and how it can be used to identify and support children and young people. This has included looking beyond attainment and thinking about other data as drivers, such as poverty indicators and health and wellbeing data. The strategy is essentially in three phases: accessibility of data, skills development, and embedding the approach. So in terms of making data accessible, this is all about the design and development of platforms to access data. A good example of this is our primary school trackers, and this is used for ongoing tracking and monitoring. Encouraging self-service of data through dashboards at central level and establishment level, and this can include school profiles, health and wellbeing data, attendance and exclusion data. And finally, the use of Power BI and having different dashboards available to support analysis. The second phase is about skill development. Through a comprehensive professional learning programme which aims to improve confidence in analysis and evaluation, how to use data to support self-evaluation and improvement planning. This has included group sessions and bespoke one-to-one support through CLPL. Lastly, there is a focus on embedding a data for improvement culture, where evidence and data are used to inform practice and make recommendations. Staff at all levels are engaged through whole school approaches to effective use of data, and there is development across different service areas and teams about effective use of data. Finally, it's all about encouraging challenge and support at all levels through effective use of data. For us in Renfrewshire, the added value is in the skill set of the data team. We've been very lucky to have both quantitative and qualitative support, and together this adds a richness to the analysis that can be done. We can understand what approaches and interventions are really making a difference and what is driving the improvement, whether that is around support around attainment, attendance or health and wellbeing. What has been critical to Renfrewshire's success is about getting the right people into the data posts. The officers have all had a background in analysis, interpreting what data means in practice, and this has been invaluable to senior officers who then work with and support schools. It really is more about running reports and pulling off data from a system. What the strategy looks like in practice will be discussed next by my colleague Mary.
Thank you, Lauren. Since its launch in 2017, our quality improvement framework has undergone a significant evolution. What began as a largely universal approach has grown into a dynamic model that now incorporates universal, targeted and bespoke strategies to support improvement across all sectors. At the heart of our quality improvement framework is a simple tagline: collaborate, empower, improve. These three words encapsulate our aim: to create meaningful opportunities for senior leaders and staff to work together across the system, to feel confident in their roles and to be empowered to drive positive change. Our ultimate goal is ambitious but essential: to build a sustainable, self-improving, networked learning system, one where collaboration is the norm, empowerment is felt at every level, and improvement is continuous and shared. Key elements of our quality improvement framework include scrutiny and analysis of intelligence and data, including establishment improvement plans, PEF plans, standards and quality reports, attainment and achievement data, and health and wellbeing data. Quality improvement visits and meetings, which provide opportunities for professional dialogue, reflection, support and challenge. A programme of establishment reviews, offering deep insight into practice and progress. High quality professional learning with a strong focus on self-evaluation for continuous improvement. A target schools programme designed to provide bespoke support where it is most needed. All of these activities are underpinned by the excellent work of our data team. Their analytical and evaluative expertise supports both the central team and school leadership. Throughout the academic year, they produce timely and insightful data summaries aligned with key milestones. These reports cover a wide range of thematic areas, including senior phase outcomes, broad general education, poverty-related attainment gap, attendance, exclusions, counselling referral themes, and comprehensive analysis of large-scale data sets such as our annual health and wellbeing survey. This data plays a critical role in informing strategic planning, monitoring progress, and supporting evidence-based decision-making across the organisation. It is also used highly effectively to guide the strategic deployment of Scottish Equity Fund resources and targeted interventions. Through a robust process of data-informed self-evaluation, specific areas of need are identified, leading to bespoke interventions supported by centrally deployed development officers in literacy, numeracy and health and wellbeing. Now to take a closer look at our programme of establishment reviews. We use a mix of qualitative and quantitative data to determine which establishments would benefit from a review and which quality indicators should be the focus. These reviews involve a 2 to 3 day visit to a school or early years setting by a team comprising central staff and peer heads and deputies, providing opportunities for staff to get out of their own establishments and look outwards. A comprehensive range of activities is undertaken to triangulate evidence from the establishment's own self-evaluation, attainment and achievement data, stakeholder feedback, and direct class observation. As a result of this rigorous and collaborative process, we know our establishments exceptionally well. We understand where support is most needed and where excellent practice is thriving. This deep insight has contributed to a strong track record of success. Every Renfrewshire school inspection since January 2023 has received gradings of good, very good or excellent, significantly outperforming the national average for good and very good gradings. Another example of how data is used effectively to bring about improvement is our Target Schools programme, which is now in its third phase. The Target Schools programme was implemented with the strategic aim of raising attainment and closing the poverty-related attainment gap in literacy and numeracy for children living in SIMD 1 and 2 areas. The programme was developed in response to persistent and uneven patterns in attainment, particularly stemming from recovery following the pandemic. School data revealed that while some schools were returning to pre-pandemic performance levels, others, particularly those serving more deprived communities, were experiencing slower progress or continued stagnation in primary school attainment. These trends mirrored national concerns that prompted a local response in Renfrewshire that moved beyond generic deprivation measures. Rather than targeting the schools with the highest levels of deprivation alone, the approach focused on identifying those individual pupils where comparative data showed they could and should be experiencing better attainment with the correct support in place to meet their needs. The programme's design was deliberately strategic, combining historic attainment data, pupil numbers and SIMD analysis to identify schools where resources could have the greatest impact on children. This more refined targeting aimed not only to close the poverty-related attainment gap, but also to raise attainment across the authority. To enable this, each school received bespoke support from literacy and numeracy development officers, as well as additional staffing, most commonly in the form of supply cover. This provided time for class teachers or principal teachers to work intensively with target groups. Small group teaching formed the core of the intervention model, creating space for individualised support. Schools employed slightly different models to match their context and to best meet the needs of their pupils. Development officers provided bespoke support to each school, offering literacy and numeracy professional learning, moderation opportunities and access to assessment tools. These professionals played a key role in embedding consistent practice, building staff confidence and responding to and supporting with challenges. In many cases, support staff were also included in the professional learning, helping to embed consistency of approach and making the interventions more sustainable. The primary evaluative measure for the programme was improvement in CFE attainment. Supplementary data sources included standardised assessments and qualitative feedback gathered through focus groups with head teachers, class teachers and pupils. The progress and attainment of individual pupils was closely monitored and tracked by the data team, head of education, education managers and school staff to ensure that interventions were impacting positively. Teachers working with targeted pupils had varying levels of pedagogical knowledge. Regular check-ins were implemented to provide tailored, responsive support, enabling more effective professional development and improved classroom practice. This engagement supported both the development officers and individual teachers to understand the specific needs of targeted pupils and supported moderation. Teachers valued the sessions for providing focused time to reflect on and discuss best practice interventions. Although some staff were initially hesitant, most responded positively to the support and engaged openly with the development officers. They also appreciated the opportunities to discuss pupil progress and intervention strategies with their peers. Both quantitative and qualitative evaluation data point to a strong and positive impact. Teachers discussed greater clarity of progress and increased engagement. The use of small groups enabled deeper diagnostic assessment and targeted instruction, particularly benefiting those who were unlikely to raise concerns in a full class setting. Pupils reported improved confidence, engagement with learning, and an enjoyment of the small group settings. Head teachers noticed that the biggest difference was often in pupil confidence and teacher judgment. Focus groups also highlighted the relational nature of the work. Pupils benefited not only from the academic input, but from being supported by adults who already knew them and understood their needs, and getting to work closely with their classmates. Almost all targeted pupils achieved expected levels in listening and talking, most achieved expected levels in reading and numeracy, and the majority achieved expected levels in writing. Building on the success of Phase 2, the programme is now expanding significantly. In 2025-26, we are supporting 17 primary schools as well as all secondary schools. This phase retains the core elements of staffing, development officer support, and targeted individual and small group teaching. I will now hand over to Linda Berry, the head teacher of Woodlands Primary School, one of our target schools. Linda will describe the impact of the Target Schools programme in her own school.
Thank you, Mary. Since the launch of our quality improvement framework and the support provided to schools by the data team, our approaches to improvement are data-informed, ensuring highly effective approaches to school improvement. This supports robust school improvement planning procedures, including pupil equity fund plans, and ensures that school leaders are creating targets that are specific and measurable. Senior leaders in schools, as well as class teachers, are skilled in their understanding and use of data to ensure that they are focused on clear targets to improve outcomes for children, including attainment, achievement, and attendance. As previously mentioned by Mary, one of the strategies to support schools was the development of the Target Schools programme. This programme was implemented with the strategic aim of raising attainment and closing the poverty-related attainment gap in literacy and numeracy for children living in SIMD 1 and 2 areas. Post-pandemic, we recognise inconsistent data patterns in attainment levels as well as attendance levels at school, which were significantly different to pre-pandemic trends. With the support of the central team, we developed a strategic approach to identify target groups of pupils where we could have the greatest impact on closing the poverty-related attainment gap in literacy and numeracy in a short period of time. The positive impact of this first element of the programme encouraged further professional dialogue between schools and the central team to refine the project and enhance it. In the second phase of the programme, a more strategic approach was taken to continue to support target groups of pupils over a whole academic session and, in addition to this, provide professional learning opportunities for staff to ensure consistency, build staff confidence, and provide opportunities for staff to network with staff from other schools and share good practice. The programme was bespoke to the needs of each school participating. In liaison with staff, pupils were identified in P1, P4 and P7, and an additionality of staffing of 0.5 FTE was provided to support this. Staff were provided with access to professional learning and support to ensure that interventions in place were effective. Development officers provided this professional learning, as well as bespoke guidance for schools on an individual basis as opportunities both in person and through teams for colleagues to share successes, resources and network. The focus of the programme was ultimately about improving attainment and closing the poverty-related gap. However, another impact of this programme was the opportunity for staff and senior leaders to explore why these pupils or groups of pupils were off track. And through online check-in surgeries with the development officers, we were able to explore challenges as well as possible solutions. A specific focus for our school was the attendance of pupils. We reviewed our target groups throughout the year, and as pupils' names were highlighted, attendance was a common theme raised as a barrier to attainment. As such, we were able to incorporate this into the project and use a small proportion of our additional staffing to focus on weekly attendance figures for target pupils and undertake an active attendance campaign. This had a positive impact on attendance and ultimately their access to the support available through the programme, helping them to get back on track. At the end of Year 2, Primary 1 and Primary 7 year groups had met their aspirational targets in all aspects of literacy and numeracy through the support of the programme. Our Primary 4 pupil groups met their midpoint targets in all aspects of literacy and numeracy and exceeded this in the aspect of listening and talking. As we have moved to Phase 3 of the programme, our own approaches have become more strategic and focused over the last 3 years. As part of the end-of-year quality assurance processes, teaching staff highlight pupils who would benefit from the targeted support of the programme. They are able to share their own professional judgment, as well as provide evidence and data to support this, impact of interventions that have already been put in place, and identify the specific gaps that should be the initial focus. This information is shared as part of the class-to-class transition programme and at the start of the new academic year, with the teachers and the staff providing the additional support. With the staffing additionality being further enhanced to 1 FTE, we've been able to extend the programme to other year groups, which we identify on a needs basis. We look at trends in our data over time, and through this process, we've been able to identify year groups as well as particular aspects of the curriculum for our focus. Support is provided in short, succinct blocks with a key focus for improvement in that time. Class-based staff, as well as a member of staff working on the programme, share progress and impact through a digital format. This allows members of the senior leadership team to maintain a strategic overview. We match our targeted pupils to their wellbeing data, as well as their attendance data, so that we can look at changes in views and other unexpected outcomes of the impact of the project, as well as changes in attainment. This more holistic approach is providing us with excellent data which supports the positive impact of the programme on pupils during their engagement and longer term.
Thank you. Colleagues, I would like to conclude this conversation by thanking you all for sharing your progress with Renfrewshire's data strategy. It's been really interesting hearing about all aspects of the work. On behalf of HMIE, thank you for participating in this recording, and I wish you well on your continued improvement journey.